I was actually just watching YouTube and I came across this one TikTok that someone was reacting to, a deconstruction TikTok, where someone basically started out with the saying, if you want to go to heaven, you have to believe in God. And if you don't believe in God, then you won't go to heaven. Now, I'm not about to claim that believing in God isn't important, but I think what we need to understand here is what actually saves us. See, simply believing in God, simply believing that God exists, is not what saves us. And in fact, in the book of James, he talks about people who, say that God exists. They say that God exists, they believe that God exists, but they don't really do anything with that. James says, so you believe there is one God. Good. Even the demons believe that and shudder. And in that passage, James is talking about people who claim they know God, who claim they believe in God, but yet don't show it through any of their actions. He talks about how faith, apart from works, is dead. Now, don't get me wrong, James here is not saying that we're saved by our works, and the Bible very clearly says that we are not saved by our works, but we are saved through grace. However, when we are true born-again Christians, when we truly have a relationship with God, those works will flow forth out of love for God and out of a love of seeking Him only. We need to understand that we are saved only through grace and not of works. That doesn't mean that we don't stop trying. That doesn't mean we don't stop trying to continually be more like Jesus and serve Christ. But it does mean that we keep in mind that this is not what saves us, and we are already saved by the grace of God. And again, James isn't saying that it's our works that saves us, but rather those works will be evidence that we are saved. It's like this. If I told you that I really like Xenoblade Chronicles and it's one of my favorite games ever, you'd probably look at me funny and question that. Why? Because if you look at my hours played, I've only played this game for about 5 hours, and Xenoblade has a main story that is about 10 times that length. However, if I told you that I really like Splatoon and that it's one of my favorite games, you'd probably believe me a little bit more. Why? Because my hours for that game are much longer. And I didn't play the game that long out of an obligation to say that I really liked it. I just naturally really like it. It just kind of naturally flowed. And that's kind of what James is saying here. He's not saying that it's our works that saves us, but he is saying that those works will be evidence that we are saved. Simply believing in God and believing that He exists is not what saves us. Rather, it's trusting in Him as our personal Lord and Savior, believing that He died on the cross and confessing that, and making Him Lord of our life. That is what saves us.